Marshall Faulk joins us now, my other husband. Marshall, good to have you on with us, and thank you for always taking the call. I want to show you a photograph. Rich just told us the story. Last night in Indy, he overheard a table saying, "Is that Rich Eisen or Ryan Gosling?" I said to him how many bottles of empty wine were on the table. Marshall, what's your thought on that?
Wow.
Oh, I love me some Rich, man. I love me some Rich. That is such a Rich Eisen-ism for him to come up and create something like that. That is perfect. For
so
those of you that
you don't believe that,
Rich,
do you? Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, please.
Not even. Just straight up.
Not even close.
Made up.
You were saying, Marshall?
Yeah. Hats on.
Hats.
Well, they both had hats on. What was it? They were at Steak and Shake. What were they?
Steak and
Hell.
I mean, I love my husband. Terrific guy. I don't see it. He's not. You're speechless.
That's such a Rich. That is. I love the dude. But that's a reach right there.
Who's your celebrity comparison? Who have people thought you were from time to time?
I get Omar Epps.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
All right, I like it.
Nice of that.
Yeah, I get Omar Epps a lot.
What do you remember from your experience at the Combine, Marshall?
Suzy, this is awesome. Like, I'm in Indianapolis. It's cold. There's a storm. I've never been this cold. There's ice everywhere. I walk across. I go to St. Elmo's to meet my agent for dinner. I come back. I lose my ID. I almost can't get back into the hotel. And I remember leaving there saying, "Oh my God, I'm never coming back here again." And with the second Indianapolis Colts take Marshall Faulk, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. That's pretty awesome. It was so cold that year. It was one of the worst. 1994. It was the blizzard of all blizzards. And when I lived there, they used to always reference the storm in '94. Oh, this wasn't like the storm in '94. So that was classic. That was probably the thing that I remember the most, that happening. And I was more on the Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of thing. I was like, I'm not working out. Like, you've seen me play. If you want to talk, if you were not in the top 5, I didn't meet with teams that weren't picking in the top 5. I just didn't waste my time with it. I focused on the teams that were in the top 5, what their needs were. I learned about the city. I kind of learned about their teams, saw how I would fit in with those teams, and had some good interviews.
So before we get to Marvin Harrison, now I'm curious, were you disappointed when you heard Indianapolis?
I wasn't. And I'm saying this nicely because I was kind of let down. I was kind of happy and let down because I didn't go to Cincinnati, because you wanted to be the first overall, but all the first picks that went to Cincinnati didn't pan out well. So I was like, is this a blessing in disguise? So it was like it was mixed emotions. It was mixed emotions.
Panned out okay. I think it worked out for you pretty well. What's your reaction to Marvin Harrison Jr. With him? Now it seems like there might be some misunderstanding, but he worked out with a bunch of the defensive guys. He's kind of playing it his way. Caleb Williams playing it his way. What's your reaction to that?
It's the new age guys. They understand where they're at, and here's what I know. His father played with one quarterback the majority of his career. He had a couple of years before Peyton got there, and Marvin understands how important it is for a receiver to have a good quarterback. He wants his son in the best situation possible for his son to flourish. If you end up at a place that doesn't have a guy at quarterback that can facilitate and get you the ball, I don't care how good you are. There'll always be questions, and your career as a receiver can be extremely hard. I believe that his father has a hand in this in a sense of advising him, like the reality is this: is he's done enough on the football field. He's played in high impact games. He's shown that he can play. I really don't understand what the combine would be for in his case, as I was, except to work against you. I can't see where the combine could help him.
You had 2 years together in Indy with Marvin Harrison. What comparisons do you see with the father-son, and are you talking to him at all about this right now?
We talked last year because I wasn't sure of what he was going to do last year. And Marvin and I, we talked, and he was just like, he's a different guy. He's a different guy. More to the sense of Marvin was a guy who got caught balls in open space. His son is more of he catches contested balls. Like, he challenges guys. And he's a bigger receiver, a bigger target, where Marvin played more of a smaller, fast guy game where he got open, operated in space, to where Junior does it a little different. But he has the ability to run routes and get open as well.
Marshall, I hate Marshall Faulk joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show, Suzy Shuster in for Rich. I hate the constant denigration of the running back position. and I shake my head. I understand. I love it when you talk about how you played the game and how you didn't get hit because you ran so fast because you hated getting hit because it hurt. But the constant denigration of the running back position, what are your thoughts as you hear so many people, Derrick Henry, all these great names being bandied about and wondering where they're going to land?
Yeah, I feel bad for those guys in a sense, but also, Suzy, and I've said this multiple times, they're complicit. When you look at all of these guys that's about to not get the franchise tag, it's because they haven't proven their worth in a sense. They come out, they split time with guys, they allow their backup to play, and therefore your value is diminished. That's literally, that's it. If you realize that there's a guy behind the guy who's asking for 15 to 20 million, there's a guy behind at 8 or 7 or 6 that you can pay. You pay the guy behind, and maybe you pay two guys. Let's say you pay two guys 7 each, and now you're at 14 compared to putting that type of money into one guy. They've done it. They've caused this to happen. They split time. They come out of games. None of them are playing whole games. And listen, it's coming from college that way because multiple guys are playing. We don't see guys that's like, we used to call them bell cows. You can count on him. You give him the ball. You know he can touch the ball. And it's not just carries. Touch the ball 30 to 40 times a game. Touch the ball. If you look at the amount of touches that guys are getting now, I mean, if a guy touching the ball 30 times, we're raving about him. And that's Christian McCaffrey. He's one of the few guys that's touching the ball that amount of time. Nick Chubb was the guy who touched the ball that amount of times. A lot of guys, they're just splitting time. And when you split time, you devalue the position and you devalue your value.
So your advice to them is what?
Play more. Play more. Show your worth. Let them see that you on the field, the offense is better than you off the field.
You know, this week, Amy Trask and I spoke with Louis Riddick about this on What the Football, and Amy said, try playing football without running the ball, and was saying that it's time for the running backs to take a lot more ownership of the game. And I think that's kind of exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm daring them. I'm asking them, play more. Come, learn how to play more. Learn how to be the reliable guy. Get pissed off when they put another guy in, and it's something that you can do. Like, I understand the team mentality, but like, hey, coach, I can run this route. Hey, coach, I can take this play fake. Hey, coach, I can block this guy, because whether you can run the ball inside and outside, that doesn't matter anymore. It's the other stuff.
But it's about playing more without getting hurt. I mean, it's just so hard. I mean, not everybody is you.
Suzy, listen, if we're worried about getting hurt, here's the reality, okay? You're going to make a lot of money in a short career, or you're going to make a little money in a long career. You make the decision.
Who do you like out there of these young kids that we're going to see this weekend in Indy?
Suzy, I'll be honest. I haven't really started to do my homework. I usually wait till after. Well, I used to have to do it before the combine. I used to dive into it, but now after the combine is when I start to really sink my teeth into these young running backs coming out, taking phone calls, analyzing, seeing what they do, using our all-pro scouting system of what these guys are able to do, and implementing and putting a stamp on which one of these guys are going to be, because we know who the top guys are. We're going to have those guys, but it's those guys that you're going to see in the third and fourth round that's going to end up breaking through, and you're like, wow, who's Isaiah Pacheco? Like, those are the guys that I like to discover and say, this guy has the potential to really mean something, a Singletary, mean something to a team, and really be a reason why a team wins.
Who do you think needs a great guy more than any other team out there?
Well, let's see. What young quarterback? Obviously, you look whoever the guy is going to be in Chicago, it's going to help for him to have it. You see what the addition of the young back down in Atlanta has done. Obviously, the quarterback position hasn't held up there. Man, let's see. There's a couple of guys in Texas that's doing it, but I think they still need a guy, like a guy. I think Dak needs a guy. I think they found out, as much as Pollard was a guy who was able to spare Zeke, being a guy who you can count on, week in and week out, understanding what's expected of you to get the tough yards. It's easy to get the yards when they're just handing you the ball, but it's the tough yards that I look at. I think about Dallas and where they're at. They need a guy. They miss Zeke. Let's just be honest. They missed Zeke in that offense. Although he wasn't healthy the last couple of years, you saw what he meant to Pollard, allowing Pollard to come in and be the fresh guy.
You like Derrick Henry in Dallas?
Not at the money that he's probably going to want. That's a deal for Derrick. Derrick has to take a deal there because there has to be another guy. And I'm not saying, this is a knock on Derrick. And what I've seen him play third down and catch the ball, but they just don't look at him as a third down guy. So that means you're a first, second down guy. And anytime in this league you get down 10 points, you can't put that guy in the game. He's taken out of the game. So he becomes more of a liability. Now, if Dallas is going to play from ahead and they're going to front run, he's a great guy to have. Great guy to have.
You look like a coach. You look like you're sitting in front of like a post-game conference, like you're about to tell me about what happened in the second quarter.
I hope I'm telling you what happened in the second quarter after a win.
I hope so, Marshall.
We're leading, and it's after the game and it's after a win. That's the look I'm going for today.
I love it. You're playing it perfectly. Thanks, Marshall. Appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me on, Suze.
Absolutely. That was Marshall Faulk here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Best.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.